I am live. What's up? What is up, world? It is the Q Dog live on Man versus Marriage, the YouTube here. What's going down? Never done this before for in this particular format in my studio, but I wanted to get on and talk to you for a few minutes about the podcast that we just dropped. The one that drops this Monday, as a matter of fact. We just did it. Got to get some editing done and whatnot, but I'm really excited about what's coming out. In the podcast is specifically about what do you want? And it's an open-ended question because you got to know that in life. You got to know in life what it is you want. How do I know? Because I'm there now. I'm trying to figure that out on multiple levels. And so if you're going on a journey, typically what you have is a destination. And so, in order to get there, you need to have a plan, at least a planned route. But you got to know where you want to go. There might be some people that talk and say, yeah, but I love adventure drives. And so do I. But ultimately, you need a destination. You need a true north. You need somewhere to point so you know where you're going. And that going is why and what do you want? So that's kind of what we cover in this episode that's coming out this Monday. And I would ask you that question before you have the opportunity to listen to it. And I wonder what it is you will have to say. And real quick, what questions do you have about marriage? What do you know about our podcast? You can email Quincy, Quincy, at mvsmpodcast.com, and I can help you. And one of the things I love to talk about is a process that we've developed on our show called standing outside the frame. I think it's extremely important that you learn about this because it has helped people around the world tremendously. And I'm not just saying around the world just to make it sound grandiose. It's helped people around the world. Not millions yet, but we're going to get there. So, what is standing outside the frame? It goes a little something like this. When you spend a lot of time and you are thinking, you're in your head a lot, you're thinking about your problems, you're so closely connected to them, you're so emotionally connected to them that it can be really difficult to understand what direction you're supposed to go. What choice do you make? How do you make the perfect choice? Because we don't want to get things wrong. But think about this when a friend or family member comes to you and they're looking for advice, and they're like, Quincy, I've got problem X, Y, or Z. Most of the time, it seems like it's so much easier for you to help give them advice. Like you can see the path they should take, you can see the choices that they should make in order to get their life back on track. Do you find that that's true? I find it's true in my own life. I mean, I can be really struggling with writing. Let's take this book I'm writing, okay, called Becoming Family Famous. Funny story about it. I'll tell you sometime. But I can be struggling on how to write and what to write about. But Jeannie comes to me and is talking about a difficulty that she's having trying to write her novel. I'm not emotionally connected to it like she is. I'm not as deep in the weeds as she is. So I can say, well, what do you think about this? Why is that? It's because I have a different vantage point. I've got a different perspective. And that's the beauty of what we call standing outside the frame. The reason I say that is because the saying is like this: it's hard to see the picture when you're standing in the frame. So, how can you get outside of the frame and get a different perspective in order to find out how you should align yourself and what decisions you should make to move forward? And that's what we do. So, in that, we ask you to email us. Email address again, Quincy at mvsmpodcast.com. And what happens is you email us and tell us whatever part of your story you want. Be as open and as honest as you feel comfortable with. Maybe get a little uncomfortable and tell us, what it is that's on your heart. So if you email and you talk about yourself and your wife, it's easy. We talk about you as Jack and her as Jill. And what Jeannie and I do is we read your story aloud on the program. And then we have an open discussion about the situation and what our thoughts are and what we think could be some potential solutions or some directions that you should go. And I'm telling you, there's a few things that happen. One thing that'll happen is it will cause you to think of some more questions, or maybe there's parts of the story that you remember. And so, or context that you can provide. And so you send us the context, we bring it back to the show, and it'll be standing outside the frame, title, episode 1, and then episode 2, etc. It can also cause instant deliverance, like you are immediately delivered from the situation because now you can see your life, your situation, your problems, your struggles from a totally different perspective. And I know one couple in particular that after one of these episodes, it dramatically changed their marriage to the point where I hadn't heard from them. So I checked in, and the husband was like, "Everything is great." And I'm like, "Really?" I mean, I know the principle works, but I didn't know that it could work that great because I hadn't experienced that yet. Most of the time we've done this, it's been a few, like at least 2 or 3 emails back and forth. And some of the stuff you hear, it's you as the listener, the one who writes in, it's not easy to hear what we have to say. We don't go out of ridicule, we don't make fun of you. We just present your story and then think about it through the lens of our almost 25-year marriage. That's what we do. So we take that experience in the journey and we apply it to your relationship, and maybe it helps. Now your life may not be as crazy or as daunting as ours is, but there are similarities there. And so you can say, "Oh, I didn't think of it this way," or "I didn't think about that. This is a pretty unique perspective, and now I can look at my situation from a different point of view." And that's the beauty of standing outside the frame, because it gives you that vantage point, and now you have a different perspective on which to approach your struggles in life. I'm telling you, it is great for your relationship. Go back to our catalog on the audio podcast, Man versus Marriage. Go check it out. There's at least 4, 5, 6 of these that we have put out. I don't put them all out because I don't always have everybody's permission. So you've got to give me that. You've got to give me permission in the email to do it. There are plenty of those in the email that I don't do, but it's all about your permission. So, I want to make sure that you know about this. It's pretty cool that I'm making the first live on YouTube about this particular topic, because it's something that I feel can be such a value to you, our listener. So maybe you're looking at this afterwards. Maybe I shared it on Facebook or Instagram or something of that nature. Come to the video, put some comments in there, like the video, share the video. If you think there are people, and look, somebody might get offended if you send it to them and say, "Hey, I thought this would help you," but who cares? It's worth the risk. The reward far exceeds the risk, because we are all struggling with something, whether we want to admit it or not. And the fact is that you have the power via your choices, via your consistency, via your mindset. You have the choices to make a difference in your own life and your relationship. And Ed Milet says something that is so profound. He said, "You are best equipped the person that you used to be." In that statement, along with what I feel is a profound calling in my life to affect marriage and men's lives in a positive way, is what compels me to do this program. It is certainly a passion project, and we want to be able to help you and the people you know. Because if I help you, and then you help someone else, and so on and so forth, it's like that ripple effect. the circle, the ripples, they start to get wider and wider and wider. So the more of those ripples we can put in the water, the more we can positively affect those around us. And I'm going to leave you with this. This year, I'm a man of faith, and so I pray often, whether it's about the show of my life or anything. I pray, and it's like, okay, my wife and I were having a discussion about one of our children, and we're just trying to give advice. Like, if you know me for any amount of time, I'm going to give you free advice you didn't even ask for. It's my personality. I'm working on it. But it occurred to me, I believe that the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, Quincy, you want to give great advice? The best advice you can give is to be the example. And that struck me so deeply. I said, you know what, Lord? I'm on it. I'm on it. It's the standard in which I, seek to live my life by. And the fact is that you can do that as well. And that's part of what our program, Man versus Marriage, will teach you. It'll teach you how to build what I call internal credibility, which helps you learn how to be dependable, someone that you can count on. Because chances are right now, that might be somewhere you struggle, that you make a promise to yourself and you cannot keep it. So if I can teach you how to do that, then you can start keeping promises. Make them and keep them to your family. Make them and keep them to your company. Make them and keep them to other people. And look, the beauty of this podcast is that I make tons of mistakes. So there's always content for the program. And I put my life, and so does Jeannie. We put our life out there on display. Final thing, Nick Saban just won the Icon Award. Well earned, well deserved. He said this, and it's something that I think of often, and it's how I do my best to live my life. Just another piece of the perspective. He said, good people learn from their mistakes. Great people learn from other people's mistakes. So they're not mistakes that they need to make. I'm not saying live your life in such a way where you're afraid to make mistakes, but observe the people that are in places where you want to be. Look at the mistakes that they're vulnerable enough to share and learn from their experience rather than going and making those mistakes on your own. That is it. That's all I got for you for now. I really appreciate you watching. It is great to get out live again and to speak directly to you guys. Later this year, Jeannie and I are going to be doing a live Zoom where we hope to interact with all of you. And if you want to put some questions in on that, it is Quincy, Quincy, at mvsmpodcast.com. No, it's questions at mvsmpodcast.com. There we go. Both of those email addresses will work. I'm trying to use questions at mvsmpodcast.com so it goes towards those live events. All right, that is it. I think there's a button down here that says end the stream, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, folks. Hey, it's getting close to football season. To all of you out there, roll tide.